I'm Jennifer Keller, the Programming Coordinator at the Westport Library. Today I'm with Courtney Peppernell. Hi Courtney.
Hi.
In honor of the hashtag Shelter in Poetry campaign, the library is bringing you new poetry collections. Courtney is the author of 6 collections of poetry and 2 novels, including the award-winning Pillow Thoughts series and her recently published entitled I Hope You Stay and Hope in the Morning. So, Courtney, would you share a little bit about the inspiration for I Hope You Stay?
Hi, everyone. Thanks to Westport Library for having me. Yes, I Hope You Stay. So that is my latest poetry collection. It was released beginning of March now, I believe. This is it here. So I guess really for, this book, after having, done so much of the Pillow Thoughts series, which is another poetry series I have, or I guess I first originally wrote, I wanted to do something similar in a sense that I have a lot of characters in my poetry books. And for this particular book, I really liked the idea of introducing this otter character, who feels a little bit lost and goes in search of themselves into space. So lots of, dreamy, floating kind of metaphors that I've included in this book. But ultimately, at the end of the day, decides to return home to Earth, and finds all the reasons to stay. So that's kind of the inspiration behind that. The reader sort of goes on a journey. Maybe the reader's feeling a little bit lost and needs to find themselves again. So yeah, that's sort of the themes that go hand in hand with this new book.
Cool. Would you read us a poem from the collection?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. This one, so the book itself is divided into sections. That's kind of what I like to do with my poetry books. I like to divide them into sections so that readers can pick what sections they want to read. It doesn't necessarily have to be in order. It's just dependent on how they're feeling. So this one is from one of the last sections in the book. So yeah, I'll read this one out. For every long moment, a breath catches in the back of your throat. Too weary to exhale, know that all your healing exists in the small details. At a party on a Saturday night, in the corner, talking to a girl you just met, spilling your soul to a stranger, because sometimes it's easier to talk to a new friend than an old memory you regret. A weekend drive on a long highway with the sun shining, and you're smiling because sometimes fresh air is better than not finding the words to say all you've been feeling and thinking. Turning a song up loud because it makes you dizzy, remembering all the things about yourself. You should be forgiving and not apologizing for living.
Wow, thank you.
That's okay.
That gives me a lot to think about, so I really enjoy that. So you're special in our series here because you recently published not 1 but 2 collections. So I'd also like to discuss Hope in the Morning.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a little bit different. So I guess I Hope You Stay is obviously published through my publisher. So that's traditional publishing. And Hope in the Morning is a self-published book. I guess I would call it like a chat book. It's not as long as what I would normally make my poetry books, but the reason why I, quickly put Hope in the Morning together was in response to the bushfires that Australia has recently experienced late last year, early this year kind of thing. We had, I'm sure you would have seen it, it was, worldwide news, the devastation that just came out of that. And, I've always kind of wanted to do more in my life and always put it down to, I'm so busy. And, looking at all that happening, I sort of thought, I think now's the time to do more. I've got this platform now, so what can I do? So, I put this book together threw it together, I guess. So it surprised me the response I got from it. And all the proceeds go to a charity called Wires, which is a wildlife charity that sort of supports injured wildlife. And I'm lucky now because I did my training and did all my theory and practical work to become a volunteer. So all the proceeds of this book go to the branch that I actually volunteer for. So yeah, they're really appreciative, and I'm appreciative of everyone that sort of picked up a copy of the book, because it's helping all our wildlife over here, which is really cool.
Well, that's terrific. Here in Connecticut, we were sewing blankets for all the animals and shipping them over.
So cute. Yeah, they are inundated with blankets, and people were just knitting things, you know, like madly knitting all this stuff for the kangaroos, and the pouches and things like that for all the different kinds of animals. So yeah, it was really cool to see the world band together like that. It was really cool.
Well, and now we're banding together for another reason.
Again. Well,
yeah.
We're doing it.
Oh, so I know that even in Australia, everybody's been isolating and staying home. Have you been writing while this has all been happening there?
Yeah, you know, I feel like I'm busier than I normally would be, just in terms of maybe it's just, I guess, the coincidence that everything's kind of, all these different things that I'm trying to work on has come about when I've been in quarantine. But yeah, I have been working. I've sort of finished up another couple of books that are coming later this year, and then I've just sort of written manuscripts for another 2 projects that I'm working on. And I have an app out, a poetry app. So I've kind of been working with the developers on that, because we're sort of making big changes to it. So, you know, because they're home and they have a little bit more time to work on this kind of, so yeah, it's been interesting. I've been busier actually. So yeah,
well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's you know, I'm blessed. I'm lucky that I'm in a position to be able to do that. But also on the other side of that, very cliche, I've been playing the Animal Crossing games. I've been doing lots of hours on that as well. So yeah,
You have balance.
Yeah, balance is always important. So a little bit of gaming, a little bit of writing, and you know, walking and playing with my dogs. So yeah, it's
great. So would you share a poem that you've written while staying at home this time?
Yeah, I can. What I was going to do, I can share a poem. So I've got Pillow Thoughts 4 coming out in August. So I've just sort of wrapped up on doing the manuscript for that. So I'll read a poem from that if you like.
That sounds great.
Perfect. So there are lyrics that will make you feel things, and movies that will make your heart beat fast. There are bright colors lighting up the sky, laughter in the middle of crowded rooms, people to tell you that they miss you, moments when you'll be reminded of the unconditional love you have. There are cities to be lost in, museums to take in, traveling to be ventured, roads to be taken, conversations to be had. There are so many things ahead of you, so many reasons to stay. It's a tie-up of the book that I've just released. I always like to tie things in, so yeah.
Well, that's great. Terrific. And what's the name of the app in case anybody wants to look for it? Is it available yet?
It's called just Pillow Thoughts. So it's just, It's got a little jellyfish icon. It's just modeled off the series. It's been out for a while now, but yeah, I've had a lot of different requests to add Pillow Thoughts 3 to it. So that's happening. And then we've got some other big changes coming further down the pipeline. So I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah, I hope people like it.
Great. Well, thank you, Courtney, for zooming in all the way from Sydney, Australia today. You're the furthest poet away.
And yet we're all connected, so isn't that great?
Exactly. And thank you so much for sharing your poems with the Westport Library community. For those of you at home, you can purchase any of Courtney's collections, including I Hope You Stay and Hope in the Morning, through your favorite retailer or find it in our catalog and enjoy some more of her poems. You can also find her on Instagram at Courtney Peppernell. So for more videos and information about the Westport Library, remember to visit westportlibrary.org. And thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.